Chelsea was able to get their new coach excited, Liam Rosenior. Hello, good evening. This is Taiwo Najobi, your host once again on Lanonasis Maple Sports. You all know we like unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and we also try to bring out some big love for Canadian hopes and eyes. Some of our specialties fall across the NBA, CEBL, NBL as well, and we try to cover some small space for smart hockey talk. Today, I qualify myself as an unapologetic fan of the game, and this is 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And just as usual, I like to say, sing your heart out, be brave, and make a difference. Today, we'll be, focusing fully on football with my usual friends. Just one of them has joined us now, and that's Joshua. And hopefully, as we go on with the show, we have other Catalans, joining us along the line. Without wasting so much time, Joshua, just say a brief hello before we dive right into it.
Yeah, we're back. We're back again. I love the jersey you're wearing, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
And happy Friday, wherever you are watching this. And we're excited to join to come talk about the sport that we love and all of the games that happened over the week, the last game week. So, yeah, excited to be back and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. I think this week we had a bit of Champions League as well, looking at a lot of changes that have happened in the Premier League and teams that are beginning to invite new managers to take over the aim of affairs. And we're looking at how teams are really adjusting across board. But before we go into the analysis, I felt we should just put it out there. Looking forward to this weekend where we'll be having Bournemouth play Liverpool. And some of the numbers around it, Liverpool have won 12 of their last 13 games against Bournemouth. So those numbers continue to haunt Bournemouth, and hopefully, looking at this home side, which has not really fared well. They've not really had a very very good result against Bournemouth. I mean against Liverpool rather. They've lost 10 of their last 11. So hopefully, let's see how it goes this weekend. Newcastle too want to fight it against Aston Villa on Sunday as well. Newcastle are also unbeaten in their last 17 home league games against Villa. So winning the last four by an aggregate of close to about 13-1. So that's going to be a different scale entirely. But what everybody's talking about is the Arsenal Man U, which is also on Sunday. That would be a tough one. Imagine Man U have not won their last six Premier League games against Arsenal. And a lot of people are saying that that's not a big problem. It is a big problem, so it's something we're really looking forward to, and hopefully they're able to give us a spectacle, and we'll be able to enjoy it. But the good thing, the Gunners have not really suffered on the defensive side, if you ask me. Just like what Man City is going through right now, they've been able to create a structure that allows them to keep replacing people and still fighting, giving themselves a chance every time. So those are just some of the things that we're looking forward to this weekend. But that being said, we'll be starting with the Man U Man City match. Even though we've had a couple of days and a couple of Champions League games too that have also followed through, but it's just a good idea for us to just look at it, even take some of the feedbacks we've gotten throughout the week that can kind of give us an idea of how the match went so far. I'm always excited to say, if Man U has delivered a disciplined performance, everybody's always excited. They looked so energetic. The performance was different. They controlled key moments. Man City didn't really look like a team that can really pursue Arsenal at this stage of the season. Even though City created more chances, but Haaland is kind of just struggling right now. And it's going back to some of the narratives we talked about earlier, that if Haaland does not have a good game, City finds it difficult to get goals. Goals become scarce. There are people like Cheki, had to step up. A couple of other guys stepped up, but it still looks like there's still a fundamental problem going on. I think for once I liked United's transition game. It was very good, very decisive. And they were happy to bring back Bruno Fernandes at this time of the season. Mbuemo AFCON had few days to rest before this game as well. So Carrick was excited. He had a lot of people on ground and he was able to go ahead. I like Mbuemo's goal. You will know that that goal came from a lot of precision, smart guy. He scored similar kind of goals even last season before coming to Man U, and we are beginning to see that. Dogu improved when AFCON started, and he's been able to carry that on, and that's why he was able to give us that performance. Before I jump into other parts, Joshua, just give us your, I won't say 2 cents, I'll say 3 cents this time.
Yeah, I mean it was I would say not everyone expected that result
Yeah,
for Manchester United, and it was a game of really what you would call like real quality, decisive play, quick play on the break, smash and grab. And first of all, it started from Manchester United missing, oh sorry, Manchester City missing a lot of their key players in the back.
yeah, yeah.
And you will notice also why they have opted to go for McGay. He's
Well,
not
yeah,
he can be available for free in summer. Just so they have a senior player in the center back there, and I I think that kind of affected them a bit also, and also because Rodri, who is coming back from his ACL, has not really become match fit, right? And you can see that he's struggling a bit. So again, in scenarios like this, you're like, okay, were Manchester United very good, or is it because Manchester City were just poor on the day? You said they created chance. I'm not sure they created a lot of clear-cut chances. I mean, yes, they had a lot of the ball, but like, I don't think they were threatening enough. I don't think Manchester United had. There was a period where Manchester United were like fighting for their life. Really, it was almost like Manchester United were deciding when to pick
went to pick, yeah.
was like just choosing to pick them apart. But I think it's a bit of both also. Is it the new manager bounce, Carrick? But Manchester United played really well. They were actually very solid, very compact. Something we've not seen, especially under Amorim. They went back to the normal 4-2-3-1. Kobe Mino
Yeah,
back in, which I'm sure a lot of Manchester United fans will be happy about. And then
yeah.
not just Kobe Mino coming, but that giving Bruno Fernandes the freedom and the ability to play in his preferred position where he
Preferred
can
position, yeah.
cause maximum damage in that
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of 10 role. And we saw that again in the game, the passes he gave. And that's where he's most effective, right? Why sacrifice that for making him deeper? That's under Amorim. But I was talked to base again in Burma back from AFCON, and they were able to get the goal. And it was really, even after the goal, even I mean, Manchester City did not look like they were ever going to get a goal, or were ever going to get a big chance. And the game could have continued to the next day, and it
Yeah,
still
yeah.
the same score. And Manchester United just picking them apart whenever they want to, because whenever they lost the ball, it was almost like it was just
A counter, complete counter.
was
Yeah.
going to happen. There was going to be a big chance, and just to say, I mean, it was what 2-0, but it could have been way more than that because
5-0 at some point because of offside goals.
Bruno made a lot of saves, a lot of key saves early on in the game, and so they could have been out of sight way early on. But yeah, it was a good performance. Where I would really talk about now is how we see Manchester United going forward. Against Arsenal,
Exactly.
it might be the same thing, but I want to see them when they play against the lesser side because it's easy playing against Man City and Arsenal this way, soaking up pressure, being compact, um, and then trying to hit them on the break, hit them on the counter, and stuff like that. But when you play people, the lesser teams, right?
Yeah.
You are not expected to sit back, right? You are the one who's going to do the attacking. So let's see how well you can break teams down, how well you can prevent counterattacks. That's when we really know where Manchester United are right now because we've seen this kind of performance before. Even under
Yeah.
Amorim, they beat Liverpool, they've beaten
Yeah.
Manchester City, right?
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer beat Manchester City a lot in his time. So these one-off games don't fool me, right?
Okay.
Really want to see them how they do over a long period of games, not just the one-off games, the Manchester derbies where I mean, you can raise your level for it because it's a big game by default.
Okay.
Go
Yeah.
to play Sunderland, when you go to play Crystal Palace, when you go to play the Burnleys of this world, how are you going to fare? When they pack the bus against you, how are you going to pick them up? That's when you really know where this Manchester United at. But looking good. I'm really happy that Bruno is back in the middle, and they have Arsenal next. So we see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also problem for Arsenal, right? They've not scored in their last two Premier League games, although they've won in the cup, they won the Champions League also this week, but in the Premier League games, they've not scored in the last two games. So, although they are playing at home,
It's just that they made sure that they didn't lose the last two. That's just it. They just made sure.
so again, do they want to draw again? I'm not
It's
sure they want
true.
that,
It's
but
true.
I mean, right now, I think I'll give it to Arsenal. They're playing at home. I think Arsenal would be they are more defensively solid than Manchester United right now and more compact. They're very hard to break. So it'll be interesting to see how the game shapes up and what happens. I mean, I really can't wait. I'm so excited to watch that. Also, when Michael Carrick was caretaker manager the previous time, I think he also beat Arsenal in maybe his first game. So that's something to look forward to, and hopefully, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks so much. So for this next match, I want to talk about. I want to use one of the words you always use, Joshua. I think there is a conundrum, or would I say there was a conundrum? Now, this conundrum was, after studying the last, let's say, 11 matches of Liverpool, it was clear that there was no balance between their offense and their defense. And for me, I'm beginning to see that the coach has changed. He has started finding ways to make those adjustments. And you will see that those adjustments are becoming a bit more profound. Especially, they played against Marseille. And I looked at their shape, even though Salah is back from African Cup of Nations. So the team is, what I would say is getting, some kind of shape back with the new guys. But that conundrum was trying to balance their offensive rating or offensive commitment with their defensive commitment as well. So it's more like picking between the deep blue sea and the devil and trying to just find a balance across board. So I was able to borrow the word conundrum in this regard. But in the Premier League against Burnley, they drew again. And this is one of their matches where you feel that they dominated about 73% on possession, but they lacked that finishing edge as well. They produced about 32 shots, and still at the end of the day, they ended up, drawing the match. But looking at Florian Wirtz, and his opening goal, for me, is more encouragement because he's now beginning to give us some good plus minus on his impact on the pitch. And I'm liking the way he's sustaining those performances because he's also forming that part of the core, putting pressure as well. So, but Burnley, they were quite lucky. They came with the 3-4-2-1 and they were able to absorb a lot of that attack.
Yeah.
So it also has a lot to do with how they were able to come up with their equalizer, and they just decided to keep it back. Their goalkeeper also had some great saves. He had about 8 saves, which were very decisive as well. And looking at it generally, let me allow you just take some kind of ruthless look at it and just tell us what you think is looking at their performance, especially against Marseille. Do you think it's just an English dominance against the French side, or some changes happening within the Liverpool team?
Yeah, I think I think it's I mean neither really. I think it's just the nature of the opposition they play, and that's something
Okay.
Arne Slot has complained about. Excuse me, severally complaining about the low block. He even said it in his press conference against Marcel of complaining that they won what did they win 3-0,
3-0 against
and
Marseille.
talking about how his team plays well when both teams want to play. But then
Okay.
he's complained severally. Manchester United, the low block, the Leeds when they lost to Leeds, um, other teams also even Burnley they drew. But again, that's no one owes you playing toe to toe, right? You are
Yeah.
better than this team. You spend more money than them. You have a lot of quality and talent in your squad, and you expect them to go toe to toe with you. No, the lesser teams are going to figure out a way for them to get the best results, which will be
Best
to
result, definitely.
play low block, be compact, and hit you on the counter. And then the onus lies on you as being the big team and the one spending all the millions to go break them down, right? So I don't know what an slot wants. He wants everyone to be open against him so that he can go trash them 5-0 and say, yeah, at least they decided to play. No, that's not being brave. That's being stupid. Right, so those lesser teams will play how they think they can play. Marseille is a big team in France, so of course they would want to play open with you, and you will have more space, you have more time, and you can do what you want to do. But no one owes you playing a certain way, right?
It's true.
The
It's
opposition will
true.
play however they think they can. That gives them the best chance of getting a result. So I think he should stop whining and using that as an excuse or complaining as to why Liverpool were not performing at the time. I mean, last season when you were running away with the league,
It's true.
Was that not the same way teams were playing against you? But you guys were just on form and were able to break down those teams. Now it's not working, and then you want to blame low block. No, I am not. I'm not having that. Um, but again, they drew. They've been on a very good unbeaten run. Actually, only that they've
I think
kind
they
of
drew 9 of their last 11.
sorry.
I think they've drawn 9 of their last 11.
Yeah, so they've had a lot of draws. That's the issue,
Mm,
and but yeah, it was a against Burnley. Yeah, it was a good game. Burnley holding on to getting the equalizer and holding on to the lead. It's really going to be tough at the bottom of the table because I think all three or all four of them got results. Either they
yeah,
won or they got a point. So it's become really tough down there, and it's a fight for your life. In fact, anyone going to play any of these teams has to be on their A game. If not, they won't be able to get any win from there. But against Marseille was good because again, it was more open. They were able to play better, and it was a good game of football. Really, it was really end to end, really good attacking football. And Marseille, for some reason, just made a lot of mistakes. Right. Even though they're doing well in the French league, but again, it's not something I expect. Is the French league, right? They don't really get a lot of competition like you would in the Premier League. But I don't know who they are playing, who Liverpool is playing this weekend.
we'll have to probably check that
Yeah,
before.
you can check that.
We'll probably check that. But I think I talked about some of the matches that they were playing earlier. Liverpool will be facing Bournemouth, and yeah, Bournemouth too is
Yeah,
also
Liverpool, and again,
yeah,
Bournemouth not really in a good shape right now.
yeah,
Unless they
that's
can
true.
replicate their last season form. But you still feel like it's still gonna be a very difficult game for
Difficult
Liverpool.
game, yeah.
Yes, because Bournemouth are a very attacking team. It's gonna be end to end, and it could be a game that ends in 3-3, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Could be that sort of game. Bournemouth are gung ho, right? They don't
yeah.
relax at
It's a
times.
free
It's going to
flowing,
be a
free
very
scoring
interesting
team.
game to watch for the neutrals, and
Yeah,
we'll see how that pans out. But I think Liverpool should be able to do well to at least get a draw.
yeah. So I think it's also a good one the way the league is going. Two neutral teams that we also try to just pick on because we're trying to just watch how they were performing over the last few weeks and trying to see how they are showing great initiative. Sunderland was able to get a win against Crystal Palace and it was 2-1.
Mhm.
They were able to squeeze out 57% possession to kind of dictate the tempo and go forcing Crystal Palace to play in their own terms. And by the way, one of the side gigs is Mateta is now asking for him to be traded.
Yeah,
He wants to move to another team. There's heavy interest for him coming from Juventus and Aston Villa. So he's beginning to, yeah, in fact, he has officially asked the team that he wants to leave. His contract is supposed to be till 2027. But right now, the owner of Crystal Palace has always had an history of getting good return back for any of his talents,
yeah,
and he's been able to get good value. So discussions are ongoing. I was surprised because Mateta used to be a bit quiet, and you talked about the fact that teams did not come for him earlier in this. I
hmm,
think it was sometime last year. You're talking about it that
yeah,
people are not coming for the guy, and the guy is playing at a very high level. But right now, I think he has gone ahead to ask for him to be sold, and he's still under contract till 2027. So hopefully they're able to find a way, and everybody is happy the way things are going. Palace struck first through Jeremy Pino in the 30th minute, but the goal came against the run of play. It didn't shift any momentum at all. So later, the equalizer came 3 minutes later, and in the 76th minute, the winner came. So for me, Zaka is still finding a way to control the central battle and helping, Palace to still, helping Sunderland, to still grind out some wins as the case may be. So maybe you can just give us 2 cents before we
yeah. It
move on.
was it was it was it was a good game. You felt like Crystal Palace really started well, got that goal, and for Sunderland, I mean, they've kind of the early season hype they had, or which was really good, playing really well, kind of like just went down a bit, and they've been finding wins hard to come by. Which has made them drop out of top four, top five. But it was good for them to get back in winning ways. As you also recall, they lost a lot of their players to the AFCON, which I think they will be getting
Yeah,
back.
that's true.
And it was a good game. It could have been anybody's game really, and Sunderland were lucky to get that winner. And after, like you said, the coach of Crystal Palace coming out to really vent for the first time, was saying of how he's been abandoned. Eze left, Maguire, the captain, left. I think a day before the game, and really just complained that they've not been backed their since their record-breaking campaign last season of getting
Campaign
to
last season, yeah.
winning the FA Cup, winning the Community
Yeah.
Shield. They've really not signed anyone really except maybe Chris Santos Uche, the Nigerian guy who doesn't really start, and Yeremi Pino. But
You
aside
know,
from
yeah.
that, they've not really signed the rest of the players. So, and also his contract is over in the summer. That's the coach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's currently a tough time for Crystal Palace. But again, I understand why they had to sell Maguire because he was going to leave on a free, and if you're the chairman of the club,
Yeah. You want to
rather
get value.
rather get 20 million for him now than risk him leaving on a free, right? So
Yeah.
that's what any sane chairman or owner of a football club would do, right? So the question now is now how can they get someone in before the end of the window for January for the coach? And also the question is who do they get? Do they get because this coach is leaving? Do they get someone that the future coach might like or just so it's they're in a very difficult period. The problem will be they should have sorted out his contract
Yeah.
or if not, let him go into summer or at least currently have someone that you replace him with. But um, it's interesting to see how it pans out because after having that great season last season, it would not be good. It's not good like all of this news that is coming out of Crystal Palace, right? First, they had to be chased out of the Europa League to go to Conference League, and then their season seems to like be going off track. But again, like I always say, that's the that's the price the lesser
Yeah. You
teams
have
have
to
to
pay.
pay for
Yeah.
qualifying for Europe and having such a great season. Like it comes at a cost, and at the end of the day, it's like at what cost?
Yeah, that's true. But I'm wondering now if you are a team like Crystal Palace and the ownership, why are you delayed not agreeing a contract with a coach of this pedigree? Especially when last season you overachieved. You understand you are missing a lot of key players right now because they are moving to bigger clubs. Why not get that area of coaching sorted out and you know you are preparing for next season?
Yeah, because they
I kind
probably
of
won't.
just feel that maybe they've not agreed on terms yet.
They probably can't agree because they most likely cannot give him what he wants. And so
Oh,
he already
okay.
knows he's going to leave because I'm guessing because he has credit in the bank now because of how well he's done, considering they brought him in when they were in a crisis. He
Crisis,
got
yeah.
them cheap and then took them on. And now he feels like he wants to go to the next stage. So that's why I feel he will not agree a contract because they can't sign the players he would want to back him
Yeah.
really well because that's not their
Well,
model. Their model is
yeah.
they just want to stay in the Premier League. They want to be
Premier
profitable.
League, yeah.
He was the one
Yeah.
who overachieved last season. The only
Overachieved
problem
last
with
season, yeah, that's
overachieving
true.
is that it
Yeah,
gives
yeah.
you then want to go again. You then want to push forward. You want to get players, but you have to remember that these clubs are run to be sustainable. So if they
Yeah.
go all out and then it doesn't work out or he leaves or then all of a sudden they are ruining that decision. So they still want to remain sustainable, even though he's achieved one much, and he wants the opposite. So I'm not sure they'll be able to agree. And maybe he just feels he's at the stage where he's doing really well. He feels like his stock has risen in the market. You know, you
Market, yeah.
need the coach. Tottenham will be sacking Thomas
Frank,
Frank.
yeah.
So it feels
It's
like
true.
he could be in place for the next top job that comes along, right? So I think that's why he will not sign a contract and he has also said after the game that he's told the coach, the owner, that he wants a new challenge. So
Okay.
that's unfortunately that's just where they are right now, and
Right.
they'll need to get someone who can take the reins
From
from
him. I just hope that he doesn't make the mistake that Espirito Santo made last season. Because Espirito Santo would have still managed what he had. And he was trying to push for more. And at the end of the day, he had issues with the owner of Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. Yeah,
And right now, he's still struggling with the new team.
with West Ham.
So
Yeah, this is
I
true.
don't know.
I think they
I
won
guess
over the
maybe it's
weekend, which
just.
was good.
You said what?
I said they won over the weekend, which was good. A bit
Yeah, which was
Tottenham.
good, exactly. Exactly. So I guess maybe it's just my own mentality. My own mentality is why are you going to go out to something that is not yet sure? You understand? No team is really even talking about getting him. Remember, I mentioned his name when Man U was and letting off Amorim that okay, he's there, the Bournemouth coach is also there, but now they've gone for Michael Carrick. So if there's no team really talking about you, anyhow, these guys are quite comfortable. They can walk away and go and sit down at home for a few months till when the club will probably go through restructuring and maybe come for them. So I think it's just their mentality generally. Me, I'm thinking from the outface of maybe like an employee. You need to hold on to what you have till something else comes for you. But it's a bit different for these guys, and I don't blame them. But that's okay. But that's the life we live in, especially when it comes to sports. Looking at a league that has also increased in income, I was just checking some of their monies that they made. They increased general income for the league by 11%. You understand? Billions and billions. So when it comes to sports, money will always be rolling by. You understand? Money will always be rolling by. Just like you said earlier, the next match is about Nottingham drawing with Arsenal, and we already touched on some of those points. Even though Arsenal controlled with about 60% on possession and 15 shots, precision was not even there. They couldn't buy it in the market. And they needed a bit of aggression just to be able to break Forest defensive block, and that's the back block that you've talked about earlier as well. They struggled here. Forest had a similar formation with what Man U had, which was the 4-2-3-1, which used to be the old 4-2-4. You understand? But they limited Arsenal seriously to just three shots. You understand? On target, despite a lot of pressure on them. But what do you think generally about Arsenal? Also, Arsenal did wonderfully well in the Champions League against Inter. I thought they would draw that match, but they were very impressive against Inter. Even though Inter was slightly above in possession, I think about 51.4 thereabout. So fairly balanced possession from both teams. But what do you think generally about their performance on both ways?
Yeah, I mean the weekend is, I mean it's been similar to what's happened the previous game where Arsenal didn't take their chances, right? First half of the game, actually, certainly the first 30 minutes, Arsenal were really on top and going at them, had some chances, had like couple of big chances with Martinelli. Martinelli
Exactly.
should have put away that chance where he had, where I don't know, maybe was trying, I don't know what he was trying to do, score play or just go up and go. Like, yeah, that should have been the one, and to get them that goal. And you just felt like if Arsenal got the first goal, it would have settled the nerves. Nottingham Forest would have come out a bit more to try to play, and that could have just made Arsenal to just close out the game. But it wasn't to be. Martinelli was hooked at halftime, and from there, it just never really got into shape. Last 15 minutes of the first half, Nottingham Forest then began to get on the ball, play well. In the second half, they also came out well, played well, and you just see the momentum shifting and changing. And Arsenal were not really able to get on top again like they did in the first 30 minutes of the game. And from there, it was just no really clear cut chance. Even set pieces, they couldn't really make anything of it. And it was just a drab game in a way of Arsenal not being able to find that killer touch, that just in the final thought to have that creativity to open up the game and get that goal. But again, it says of how Premier League teams and how it's really difficult to it can be difficult to break down sides. But again, then we then saw the flip side of it in the Champions League when they went to Inter Milan with Gabriel Jesus scoring two goals. Then that brings up the question: who starts against Manchester United on Sunday?
Exactly. Jesus is playing well, really. So though they kept
Gyökeres
him injury, he's been playing
Gyökeres
well.
came in, he also got his goal, so which I really loved. I mean, I was so happy for him that he came on and he got the goal. If he came on and he didn't get, when Gabriel was Jesus, who you've come to replace, got to there, he's like, this is not against my style. I'm so happy he got the goal. So then Ateta has a decision to make on who he starts for the Manchester United game. But yeah, it was a good game end to end. For some reason, Inter Milan did not start the game on fire.
Yeah.
Arsenal really went for them and controlled, dominated the first early minutes of the game. They got that goal. Then all of a sudden, Inter Milan settled into the game and got that wonderful equalizer. That was a wonderful power. I mean, thunderbolt of a shot to get equalizer. And luckily for them, they were able to get back in the lead through Gabriel Jesus. And then from then on, the third goal was just the killer, which I think the keeper should have done better, really, for the Gyökeres strike. But again, that's and they've what they are top of the table in Premier League, top of the
Premier
league.
League
So
and Champions League. Yeah.
and could they win the treble? Well, I guess time will tell.
I guess we never know until until the end of the season. But that's a good one. I like the way they are going. They are 100% in Champions League. They've won seven straight, and that's a very good performance. From a team of that caliber, it means that they are prepared for what is ahead of them. I like what I'm seeing from them generally. And down to the man himself that talks about the conundrum. Chelsea was able to get their new coach excited, Liam Rosenior. He was practically making his first Premier League debut as a manager, and I saw him very composed. I think that guy, to me, is one of the few passionate and mature young coaches, coming up in the league. I saw the team; they've built that discipline. It's clear that there's a new direction that they are going. You understand? Yao Pedro playing better and stuff, But I think I'll just allow you talk about it.
Yeah, we'll
Then
see.
also
I
give
mean,
us
we'll
some
see.
two
We'll
cents
see.
on their performance with Parforce as well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good that for him to get his first Premier League win, and it was a game really that could have gone either way. Scoreline doesn't really tell the story. Brentford had a lot of chances. I mean, it was a good win for us, for Chelsea. Not so much great performance, but a good win. Roberto Sanchez had to make a lot of like really important saves to keep them from going a go ahead, even when we
You go
scored
ahead.
the first goal, to keep them from equalizing, right? And you could see that we needed that second goal to just like kill off the game, take out the sting
Killer.
from the
Yeah,
game. And luckily, Chelsea were able to get that. But I mean, Chelsea will take any win they can get right now. It's just all about the three
yeah, yeah.
points and
Yeah.
hoping, trying to improve
Even
our
if the win
form
is in
as
Russia,
we
they will
go.
go there and
Yeah, as we go, because I mean, he just came. We don't know really how we would like to play. I mean, but things what I've seen so far is pretty much the same with what Maresca has been doing in terms of how we play, how we build up, and in the first game also, you just knew that 3 points was important, was critical to get up to seventh in the table or eighth in the table, the automatic qualification spot, and they were able to do that. It was a hard victory, and Parford's defended really well. Were compact, and the goal came from a set piece. I mean, what almost 80th minute, but it was enough for Chelsea to be able to get that win. But again, like I said, all that is important right now is getting 3 points, and the performance will follow. But we'll see how they do again this weekend when they play Crystal Palace away. That's a London derby, so it's of course your Sunday is going to be a tough game.
yeah,
I'm see we'll see what you're saying, what they do for the rest of the season, right? If they can still make top four and qualify for Champions League, I think right now that's the realistic target
target.
that
Yeah.
Chelsea must have, and even Rosenior must have is to qualify for Champions League. So, um, again, 2 wins, 6 points, which is all that is important, and we go from there.
I think Liam is starting on a very good note, if you ask me. Liam Rosena. And it looks like he's going to be there long term, the way he's going. I think those players like him. Even though this is a bit of a digression, but in Champions League match for Real Madrid, they dominated in this their last match because this match was going to determine if they were going to qualify for Champions League, going forward and stuff. So, and it was going to also determine what their next position is going to be, which team they will face and stuff. I saw the way I was the this your Brazilian friend in Madrid. What's his name again?
Vinicius.
Yeah, Vinicius. The way he went to hug Abeloa, he was so passionate. In fact, the camera had to station the way he went to Abeloa and he hugged him. You understand? I went back to the field. As in, I have a feeling they may just keep that guy. They may just keep him. I don't know if they will allow Jurgen Klopp to come because
I mean,
he's clicking with those
if they
guys.
like him, like you said, it's power
If the
play,
players like you, that's the end in
player
Madrid.
power.
Player power. If
You
they
could
like
see
you,
that.
that's the
I'm
end.
not sure he and Alonso, if they really had a good relationship. That's Vinicius and
Vinicius
Alonso.
Junior, yeah.
Which I
Mm.
mean, a lot of people are saying that's maybe what got him the sack. But it's good for Abelua. I mean, after losing that in the cup game, his first game for
Mm.
us in the Copa del Rey, and then to dismantle the team they played in the Champions League.
Six
It
zero.
was
It
yeah, it was
was
really good.
was a crazy one. scoring
It
six
was
goals.
really
But that
so
they
again,
did
like
that match too.
Will said, that for Real Madrid is not really about tactics, which he feels like Alonso is a good coach,
Yeah,
very amazing coach, but sometimes especially Real Madrid it's more about being a manager than a coach. It's what about what you do off the pitch that maybe not about really tactics formation, because it's about managing the egos, managing those players, managing the
yeah,
dressing room, and
yeah.
making sure they are all on board, because those players are good players, they are world class players, a lot of them, and they can change the game just in the twinkle of an eye, even without a coach, really. So
Mm.
and maybe it was the opposite for Alonso, trying to focus a lot on tactics as opposed to man mind. But again, I think he will learn from it. I'm not sure we'll have any job as difficult as Real Madrid again in the
No,
second
no,
half
no,
of the
ever.
season.
No, no.
So so it's gonna be better for it. It's gonna be better
Yeah,
for it.
that's true. So I know we forgot to talk about Bodo Glimt. Man City was having just a tough week for them. After playing Man U, and they were dominated completely. They could not even express themselves. Then they went to Bodo Glimt, and they went there and they messed it up again. Defeated them 3-1. I even heard, I was just catching up. I heard that the club announced that they were going to refund the tickets of all the Man City fans that went to go and watch the match all the way. They were going to refund them,
Besides,
almost going to about 10, because I think for them to watch the match was about 25 euros or thereabouts each. So they're going to have to refund about close to 10,000 euros to every Manchester City fan that traveled to go and watch the match, because it was an abysmal performance. It was rubbish completely, as in they were really, really struggling. I saw the game. Those guys would have even scored more. Those guys would have scored
I was
more.
surprised. Like, I mean, I didn't watch the game because I'm again who watches Manchester United Bodo, Manchester City Bodo Glimt. So then I checked because I'm like, okay, because they were
There
like
were
winning
even
3-0.
names that I didn't know.
Was
Caspar was, all those guys. They were
yeah,
dominating
it was really
seriously. They were
surprising.
missing chances there.
It just shows like they are so open at the back, and what's against what I said against my side. I don't know whether that's due to the lack of defenders they have, or because Rodri is not fit to give them the protection that they usually get. But something is just wrong, and that's usually the foundation for going forward. Because in the attacking phase, you will always lose possession. So whenever you lose possession, there's a turnover and you're conceding a big chance every time, then you're going to be in for a long game. And I saw the news also of the players trying to return the money, but that's because they feel that they've let the fans down in their own
Down,
preparation.
exactly.
And then they're
Yeah.
not looking for a way to compensate. And I was listening to Talk Sports where Samuel Jonah was like, well, I mean, if you're going to do a gesture, I mean, do it well. Why only pay for the match ticket? You could why not play for the flight ticket? Because that's even more expensive than the match ticket. I've
More
even
expensive than the
I've
matches
just
again.
Googled it.
So they
Pay
just chose
everything.
the cheaper
Pay
one.
the match ticket and also the flight ticket for everyone who came to watch a game. And again, if you want to do it, is there really need to put it in the press? Like, but again, does this create a bad precedence? Will every fans now expecting that when there's a bad performance, fans should or players should or club should refund something? But again, I mean, I'm not really sure what I think of it. Like, is it good? I mean, I don't really care really. Um, but again, yeah, it was a terrible performance. Like Manchester United, we have to get back on track really fast this weekend because
Exactly.
they drew their last three games in the league, then lost to Manchester United, lost to Bodo Glimt. So it's really been a bad run of form for them this in this January.
Exactly. Hopefully they're able to just get it going. So the other team that we were even thinking will step up when Man City dropped the ball was Aston Villa. I think Everton did Arsenal a favour by making sure that they, squeezed out 1-0 against Aston Villa. And just like I think I said this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, that anytime you kind of expect a lot from Aston Villa, they ended up messing it up this season. But times that you feel that they're going to lose, they now go there and they now overperform. Because in this match, they dominated with about 63%, producing about 18 shots. But, nothing came out of it. Everton now ended up having, and something is really happening right now in the league with the 4-2-3-1 possession. It looks as if that possession helps a lot of teams absorb pressure because it's easier for them to just wait for transitional moments to strike. So 4-2-3-1 is becoming the norm now. About four teams, when I was just doing the analysis, about 4, 5 teams, key teams I looked at, them following that 4-2-3-1 possession. I mean, execution, and it's really helping them to be compact. You understand? So I also checked Aston Villa was able to defeat Fenerbahce yesterday. I think that was is it the Conference League or Europa League? They were able to
Yeah.
defeat Fenerbahce just 1-0, and hopefully those wins are able to just get them ready for this weekend. Even though it's going to be a quite tough order for them, but let's still see how they go about it. This weekend. But what do you think generally about Aston Villa going forward?
Yeah, I mean they had the chance to close the gap on Arsenal after
Yeah.
Manchester City lost, Arsenal drew, and it was like it almost felt like a perfect weekend for Arsenal in the end, right? But Manchester Aston Villa could not capitalize on that, and they lost. And it was the first time they were losing at home in a very long time. And from Emery's post-match conference, was you could tell he was frustrated. I mean, the interview
Mm.
was one of the strangest interviews I've ever seen. After the game, he was just giving one answers to the journalist, and then at the end he said they're not even competing. They're not contenders for top five. I mean that's clearly a lie, right? But you could just tell that I was in the heat of the moment, emotions rising, and he was just more or less disappointed with the performance from his players, really, and you could tell that in his reaction. But again, they were able to bring it back. Fenerbahce getting the win, not really a great performance because they had to hold on really at some point in that game. Just they will do well to qualify really, and they are really contenders, challengers to win that title. So I'm really not bothered about them in that competition. One of the English teams have a good chance to win both Conference League and also the Europa League. But this weekend they'll be looking to put it right to get back
Yeah,
to winning ways. When they play this weekend to kind of cement or solidify their position in the top four, right? Just checking who they're gonna play this weekend. They're playing Newcastle United. Well, that's gonna
that's a
be
tough
that's
one
gonna
for
be a
them.
tough game, right? 'Cause Newcastle also, right, flattering to maybe it, although they played well really in the Champions League,
Yeah,
getting that
yeah. They also got
and
the comfortable win in Champions
yeah,
League.
here
Yeah.
nor there, right?
Mm.
They've been better here nor there with their performances, but left to be seen. It's going to be an interesting game, I think, for neutrals. It's going to be a very good game, and it could be anyway. I mean, Newcastle at home, St James's Park is a good place, good
Good
venue for
place.
them, but it could go anywhere. So it's going to be a good game. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, just like you just said, now Newcastle didn't just beat a scrub team. They beat PSV, a team that has good history in Champions League, and they were able to manage 53.7% in possession. So your key guys are really playing well. Wissa, Gordon, and Barnes. Barnes is really playing at a very high level, and they're able to still get this win against the PSV team. That's what surprised me the most. And I'm happy for them. It means that they have what it takes to sustain going back to winning ways in the Champions League. We know that they cannot get to the final, but at least they can make some noise. You understand? But
Yeah.
we wish them the best. Madrid too had a comfortable win against AS Monaco. And I felt I should just put this out there. AS Monaco is really not a scrub. It's a very good team. And they ended up beating them 6-1. I think it was just
Yeah,
a galore of
I
goals.
was surprised.
It's just a desperation. And when teams get a new coach, there's this excitement that comes.
When
The new coach is
new
setting
manager bounce,
expectations. A new manager bounce. They can go on a couple of wins, then later you now start developing problems. You now start seeing issues that you need to deal with. And that's where some of the tactical brilliance must now come into play. Because right now everybody's excited about new managers. Chelsea won, Manchester United won, even Madrid won as well. All the teams that had new managers, as at least top level teams, have started getting into winning ways. But now we don't want to see them getting into difficult situations. How do they adjust and show us that they want to change the narratives? Um, Barcelona had a bit of a hiccup, and I felt maybe I should just drop this in before we end. They had their first loss in like I think close to about 10 games. They lost in the La Liga, but they now repaired that narrative in the Champions League against Slavia Prague. They ended up beating them 4-2. And the same thing I said earlier, they went with the 4-2-3-1 possession again. It helped them to dictate tempo and direct their transitions 40.7%. percent across board. But what do you think generally about Barcelona with the Spanish
Yeah, and
energy now coming?
to be fair, they've been on a good run. They've been on
Yeah,
a good run. I think in the last previous 11 games, they won everything. They didn't concede so much. Especially after Chelsea beat them, like that, after that period, they've been on a really good run. Be, I mean, got 5 points or 4 points ahead in La Liga, and they just kind of stumbled a bit, right, in the race.
yeah.
But I mean, it's still good. They're still 1 point ahead of Real Madrid. But the game against Real Sociedad, yeah, that was a very surprising game that they lost. But again, you have to say the home of Real Sociedad is not a good hunting ground for Barcelona. It's a place where they've struggled over the years, but it just felt like in the form Barcelona were that they would be able to get the job, but it just didn't happen overnight, and Real Sociedad were able to hold on for the win, which was an upset. But again, it just made the title race interesting. With Alonso leaving, you now realize that okay, maybe Alonso
Yeah,
shouldn't have
there's
even
still some
left.
bread. There's still some.
Because I mean, I
Uh,
always thought 4 points, even with 4 points, they were still in the race, right? They're still the second leg of Clasico to play, and they were still in
yeah,
the Champions League, right? They were still in the Copa del Rey at the time. But you could see, well, he was clearly sacked for non-footballing reasons because he did really well in terms of on the field performances while he was there. But yeah, it's made the title race. It's blown it wide open. We have a proper title race now, and you feel like this could go all the way to the wire. And if it stays like this till their classical, you know that it's going to be fireworks. And yeah, really, really excited. And I believe Barcelona will bounce back definitely to get it,
yeah.
like they did in the Champions League. Also, Femi Lopez, really good player. I now see why Chelsea wanted to buy him in the summer. He's such a beautiful player to watch. The way he
Yeah.
strikes the ball, he shoots really well. I mean, his eye for goal is
No, I
wonderful.
think he plays like a typical Spanish. That Spanish. They
Yeah,
call it a.
I love him so
Yeah.
much. I love him so much.
Mm.
And
You
I
see
see why
Ferran, all those guys, all those Ferran Torres, similar kind of play, Spanish touch. They touch the ball differently. Look at Iniesta those days. You understand?
I
They
mean,
touch. It's like as if they don't
Arsenal
have
has been
waist.
churning out players like that. Sadio La Masia, like
I think
those those.
the academy has not failed them in a couple of years, and that has helped them a lot. Your team, your defending champions, they played against Sporting, and they lost 2-1. How the great are falling. Even PSG dominated that match with 74.6%, but Sporting was very efficient with the 25.4 possession that they were managing. PSG was
Yeah,
really putting a lot of pressure. They fired 28. Sporting just had 10 shots on target in the total game. You understand? Sporting 2 shots on target. They had 4 shots on target, but still just managed one goal. I think it was just a fluke. They are comfortably going into the next phase, but this win was a different direction for me. What do you think about it before we close?
yeah. I think it's been like that really. PSG this season, they've not really blown teams away like they
Anything
did in the later part of last season when they. If you notice, they were almost in similar position last year in the Champions League. If you remember, they had
Champions
to
League.
play playoffs. They
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't qualify automatically for Champions League group stage. They had to play playoffs, so their season didn't kick on until from January, where I remember they beat Man City in the playoffs to progress. So, but this season they've not really blown teams away, even in the league on. Monaco have been following them really closely, and but yeah, it was a really weird game. They dominated, but created a lot of chances, but just couldn't get the win. Couldn't get the goal, and Sporting Lisbon once they went ahead after the equalizer, they just defended for their lives, and you could see how much it meant to them at the end of the game. But PSG have been able to bounce back. They played in the league I think today, and they were able to win just 1-0. But I think slowly but surely they'll be there or thereabout for the league. But it's so early to say how if they'll be able to retain it or perform as well as they did last season. But again, they're still a team to beat, really doing well. And I'm just worried for their squad depth. I'm not sure they have. they have that big a squad to compete on with for competitions like they did last season. So they have a lot of youngsters who come in, but you can do that in Ligue 1 and all of that. So maybe that would favor them, and they can only rest the players for Champions League. But yeah, good game for Sporting Lisbon. But at the end of the day, I think PSG will do well enough to qualify or at least get
Qualifying.
through playoffs.
And but even last season, they caught fire towards the end of the season. That's when they caught fire, really.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
like
felt like
towards the end.
it was towards the end they caught fire. So a lot of people are
So
really
that's why
not
with
surprised.
Arsenal too. I mean, Liverpool topped the table all through and
Mm,
finished first place in the league phase, but PSG beat them in what round of
yeah,
16 or is it
yeah. Round of 16, yeah.
so again, it really doesn't matter. It's about what you do when you get to the business end, when you separate men from boys, when you separate the wheat from the shaft, when
Shout, yeah.
we get to the business end. That's what
You
counts
give
in
business of the day.
against.
Yeah, that's true. How many English teams are presently in the playoff? I think I was monitoring. I think Man City, they are currently in the playoff spot. I don't know about Newcastle and Chelsea, but I felt that with the
Yeah,
number of points they had,
I think Newcastle and Chelsea are in the top eight.
they've won already. I think they won yesterday. I mean, they won on
Top eight. I think
22nd, that's 2 days ago.
There's one
I mean,
more
yesterday
league
rather.
game to go.
Okay.
There's one more league
With
game
just
to
one
go
more,
before.
just one more. But presently, I think Man City
Yeah,
are currently in a playoff spot. Those two will
yeah.
probably
Man
be
City in playoff
decided.
spots for the league. We have Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea are all in the top eight. Then
Top eight,
Barcelona is
okay.
ninth, Sporting tenth, City 11th.
Eleventh, okay.
I mean, they're all they're all separated by like 1 or 2 points. So the last game of
We
the season will really determine
will really
who
determine,
wins.
yeah. So it's more like a dog race. Everybody is fighting between now and the end of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Thank you very much. I think we did very well with time. Thank you for joining me today, Joshua. We couldn't have Emmanuel. He had some other urgent things he needed to catch up with, and Philip also tried to join, but some other things came up there. At least we're able to do very well with time, 51 minutes. Thank you once again. This is Taiwan Ojobi, your host on Land Analysis Maple Sports. We've been able to push a little bit of unfiltered opinion and sharp analysis around the Premier League. As we go into the weekend, hopefully we're going to be able to get some, deep action, try and see how passion really falls across the English Premier League. And, we're going to get back to you in very good time on some of the analysis going forward. All the best to teams that with new coaches, with new direction, new strategy. And, let's see how it goes between now and the next meeting. Thank you very much for your time, Joshua. God bless and enjoy the
You're
weekend.
welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
See you next episode.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.